and doing it repeatedly, I landed a job in S&P Global Mobility.
So one question I would love to ask you is, so how many total years of career gap you have as of right now from the graduation to getting into S&P?
Like in January 2024 or February 2024, I started hearing the comments like it's impossible right now for you to get in the field.
And do you think that people should actually have a career coach rather than just trying it everything by themselves? What do you feel?
Being some egoistic that I can do it myself, and in that you waste much of your time.
They stick on to it and they put label themselves. I can't do this, or it is not possible for my background. Maybe I not get this much of hike.
To that thing, if
That story.
you can get out of it, then I can also get out of it.
Looking for very small companies initially because I have a career gap.
With the lag of 1.5 week, 2 weeks, I think I got the job offer. And second is the system that you maintain, though it's improving, but yeah, it's a good system that if one follows, then he would get some results.
Got it.
Sooner or later, one will get the results.
Okay. This is Gireesh, your host with the Grow with Gireesh podcast. So again, today we are back with one more guest. Today we have Rashi with us, who has a quite fascinating journey in terms of starting a tech journey. So I think Rashi has completed his graduation in computer science, and after that she had a career break for some particular reasons. Then she had faced a lot of rejections in terms of getting into a new domain called data analysis. But still she persisted, and right now she got placed in S&P Global recently. So let's today speak to Rashi and understand what exactly is the roadmap she has followed, and also we'll understand about what exactly the major challenges she has completed as well. Right. So over to you, Rashi. So welcome to today's podcast.
Hi, Gireesh.
Hi, Rashi. So glad. Thank you for doing this as well for the podcast. So without wasting much delay, I just wanted you to take over, and can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, actually, I graduated from Maharaja Surajmal Institute of Technology in Computer Science in 2020. After then, I switched and I started preparing for MBA. However, I couldn't completed it. So that then again there was a new switch in my career that was to data analytics.
Okay.
And it was in 2023 that I switched to data analytics. After then, I just completed one course from Edureka, and after in January 2024, I started searching more about like in which company to go, and I started applying online on LinkedIn. So like from 2 to 3 months, couple of months down the line, I tried it myself. However, I didn't got the results. Though there was 2 interviews that were scheduled during the period, but that I couldn't crack to the uh, I couldn't crack it. However, after then I met you around in April 2024, and after then we again started the journey, but with some variations. And doing it repeatedly, I landed a job in S&P Global Mobility.
Great. So one question I would love to ask you is, so how many total years of career gap you have as of right now from the graduation to getting into S&P?
Like I graduated in 2020 until 2023. Actually, I was not searching for any job.
You're
So
preparing for
technically,
examinations.
yeah. So technically, I was not unemployed. But after 2023, I was unemployed since I was
Searching for
searching for the job. So if we take the career gap, then it's around 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
2020 to 2024.
Okay. Good. So let me just dive deep into this, because a lot of people have this misconception that, okay, if I have a career gap for whatever the reasons, they're preparing for UPSC, for CAT, or they have choose a different path and they're not able to get it and want to get back to tech, right? So they have this misconception that no, companies will not consider, right? They'll only give opportunities to freshers who are BTech graduates and they're just freshing out, passed out, right? So what do you feel about that? And how did, have you faced any this kind of suggestions you have got from the people around you or your friends? Okay, it will not be possible, or what is exactly the scenario you faced before you cracked this S&P thing?
The movement I switched, I joined the data analytics field and it was also with somebody's guidance that she suggested me like you should go on this path because there are lot more openings in the field. However, when I completed it, like in January 2024 or February 2024, I started hearing the comments like it's impossible right now for you to get in the field. But what I think, if you are very persistent on that strategy and on the goal, and your strategy is good, so you can beat anything you want.
So basically, they're saying this because of they feel that market is not ready to take the people who are from the career gap people, or like, how exactly is it?
So basically, they are like, yeah, the market is not ready to take the career gap, and especially considering the layoff periods.
Yeah,
Right now, there is
layoff
massive layoff.
period. Okay,
So
I
they
see.
are like, the person with experience are not getting the job. So you are having a career gap of 4 years, then it will be like very difficult for you
to get out.
to restart the journey. Yeah.
Got it. Understood. We'll dive deep into this, how exactly you have done this, how you have overcome this. But let me just get back to this data analytics, right? So after you have a career gap, after you prepared CAT and you changed your direction, like how did you decide that, okay, fine, what made you to choose data analytics as a career option? What did you love about data analytics? What did you understand about, okay, fine, this is something that I can pursue in terms of my career?
Yeah. So like there are 2 to 3 points to consider it. First, like I'm very generally aware. So that when I got to know that introduction of chat GTP, then I realized that the software developer kind of roles will be replaceable in the future. So there is no point like again restarting in a role that could be replaced within 5 to 6 years from now. Second, I had career counseling kind of so like they told me ki there are 2 to 3 different fields in which I can restart.
Okay.
For example, DevOps, full stack development, data analytics. But I choose data analytics because it consists of the modules or tools which I had a glimpse in the college itself. For example, Python, SQL.
Okay.
So I knew them initially from my college years only.
You are from CS, right? CS background.
Yeah, computer science background.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
So, and additionally, only 2 to 3 things I need to develop it from the scratch. And but then too, they were very simple for me because they almost seemed like a PowerPoint thing for me. So it wasn't that difficult to do it.
Okay, so is it coding compulsory to get into data analytics roles, or there should be a hard code coder to get into data analytics, or coding is a very minimal part of the whole data analytics skill sets?
Like the answer would be like, if you want to stick to data analysis, then initially the coding required will be very minimal. However, gradually you need to develop the skills related to coding. However, if you want to grow on the ladder to become a data scientist, then the coding is very important from the initial stages. So, sooner or later, you need to learn coding. It might be a gradual process, but you need to.
Okay, so basically you're telling that to start, you will not be, should be a great coder, but to get into a progressive next roles, maybe data engineering or a data scientist role, coding is an integral part of the growth. Okay, great. So also just give me a set of tools. For example, let's say if there is a guy who wants to get into data analytics from a different background, from scratch. Okay, what are the top key tools and skills he need to master to get an entry-level data analyst job?
So this will be divided into 3 broad classifications. One is a visualization tool.
Okay.
That is Power BI or Tableau. Or ClickView, I think. And second is one statistical tool. That is Python or R.
Okay, got it. These are programming languages. Python or R is a programming.
Yeah. These are programming languages, but we need to use the tools R or Python in such a way that is not used in the conventional programming. Actually, we need to use in statistical analysis.
Got it.
So
it's
that
not
is
into a
something.
coding terminology to build something.
Yes. Yeah.
It's to just analyze in terms of the statistical part. Okay, got it. What's the third one?
And third one is one related to the database, like
Okay.
SQL, MySQL. Yeah, these are the only three tools you need. Broad classifications you need to be ready with if you want to switch into data analytics.
Great. Super. Understood. So now let's get back to the journey. Okay. So
Yeah.
just tell me, right? So can you just help me walk us through the journey you had before you actually started the career coaching with me? Like, how does your job search used to look like before you meet me? Like, how is your job application process? Like, how many number of calls you used to get with how many number of job applications? Just give me a brief about the journey you had before meeting me.
As I mentioned that I started my journey in January 2024 till, and before meeting you, it was till March 2023, 3 months
Yes.
around.
Yes.
So in 3 months, I applied around 200 jobs,
Okay.
from which two interviews were scheduled,
Yes.
but I couldn't crack it.
Okay.
So the main distinctions that I think are there in the journey before you and after you are, I was just applying only through one resume, and I was not varying it or matching it
Customizing it
according to,
basically.
yeah, customizing it with a JD
Mm-hmm.
of different companies.
Mm-hmm.
And second, I was not working on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I had the LinkedIn presence, but it was very minimal. Only
Mm-hmm.
7 connections
Mm-hmm.
at the time we joined.
So you have
And
7 connections when you started with.
yeah,
Okay, got it.
and LinkedIn presence, and also the cold emails that I send after that. So these three are the major distinctions that I think were there in the
Hmm.
two journeys.
Okay. So one thing I wanted to understand, let's go back itself. Okay. On an average, how many job applications would have sent before you met me? Let's say you started your job search journey exactly when?
January 2024.
January 2024, right? So from January 24 to March 2024, how many number of job applications on an average you have sent from all the platforms? Naukri, LinkedIn.
Around 200.
Okay. So out of 200 jobs you have applied, how many number of calls you received?
Two.
Two. That's
Yeah.
like 1%.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like 1%. Not even 1%, I believe. Right.
Hmm.
It's a 1%. So what do you think is a major challenge? As you said, right? It's because mostly it's because of the resumes not being customized
Hmm.
and all those things. That's what you have mentioned to fix it up, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Got it. So from that, we you have done the requirement stages and everything, right? So let me just dive into that as well. Okay. So when you came to me, right? So basically, I just wanted to understand, like, how did you know about my career coaching? Was it somebody referred you?
Actually, so we have a mutual friend like Bhanu.
Mm-hmm.
So from him, I got to know about you, and then I had a call book with you, and after then one-to-one session and
Mm-hmm.
phone call basically. So
Mm-hmm.
then we started with the journey.
Okay. Now, one question I would love to ask you is the moment before you booked the call with me or before somebody referred me, right? What is that one moment you felt that, okay, fine, bhai, matlab, I've tried everything for myself. I've applied 200 jobs. I did complete certifications. I've done my hard work. You have done your effort. It's not like you have not put.
Yeah.
But when is that moment you decided, I think I need a professional or I need somebody who can help me with a structured way of approach? So when did that moment happen? And do you think that people should actually have a career coach rather than just trying it everything by themselves? What do you feel?
For me, it's basic. It would be like, um, for a career coach, you need to have, if you are a fresher and you do not know anything about LinkedIn or resume building
Mm-hmm.
and sending the cold emails,
Mm-hmm.
how to talk to connections. But if you are some professional and you have some bit of familiarity with the concepts, then it's okay. You can like go on by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But still, if you are professional and if you do not have any familiarity with the concepts that I mentioned before, then you should go with a career coach, because actually it's being some egoistic that I can do it myself, and in that you waste much of your time.
Yes. So a lot of people, what I believe, right? So they're not wasting actually money, they're wasting a lot of time, which in turn is
Yes.
costing them the opportunity
Hmm.
cost, right?
Yes.
right? Wait, let's say you're doing everything by yourself, you may get a job in 6 months. But in the 6 months, you're losing the hike, which you're
Yeah.
supposed to get, or the opportunity you're supposed to get. Great.
Mhm.
Greatly put. So, one question also wanted to understand, right? So, what is the biggest challenge you feel that you have to overcome, like in terms of getting your first job offer?
My biggest challenge that I would be considering is my mental attitude,
Mm-hmm.
because people around will say you, like, if you have so much career gap, then it's very difficult because of the present circumstances, layoffs,
Mm-hmm.
pressure, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be persistent when others are saying that.
So
You should
basically,
be like,
others' opinions of you is something which will.
that doesn't matter if you are very much persistent with your goals,
Mhm.
strategy.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. So how did you actually tackle this? Like, do you have any process, or how did you come out of this? Because a lot of people struggle with this. They get a suggestion, they stick on to it, and they put label themselves. I can't do this, or it is not possible for my background. Maybe I not get this much of hike, or all these things, right? So what is your process of to getting out of this self doubt or the imposed doubt on yourself?
So the one thing that I think is to get out of the self doubt, always remain humble,
Mhm.
and that you can do by generally reading books.
Okay.
I read books actually to overcome my self doubt,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives me actually strength to overcome like what circumstances are there.
Mm-hmm.
If, for example, if I'm been through any circumstances that is against put against me, then I will think like what the author in my book had been through, and I will compare it to that thing. If
That story.
he can get out of it, then I can also get out of it. So
Okay.
that's how I do this.
Got it. So can you mention any of the favorite book which has really helped you to overcome the self-doubt?
Yeah, recently I studied Lance Armstrong. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about the bike.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good book.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's basically the he used to be he's a cyclist,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes to one tournament whose name I cannot recollect, but after then he was diagnosed with cancer and he overcome it. And
Mm-hmm.
again, he went through that race, cycling race,
Mm-hmm.
and he won the first prize. So
Superb. Superb.
it's journey,
So you
like,
relate to if that guy can do that biggest of problems and solve
yeah,
it, so why can't we just go forward? Okay,
yes.
that's a good way of getting inspired from real life people rather than just
Mm.
depending on fake motivation. That's also I agree with it. Now let's come to the hot topic, which I wanted to address in this podcast. Right. So a lot of people come to me when they have a consultation call with me. They're like, Girish, I just looking for very small companies initially because I have a career gap. Right, so that's what they come from, but you have actually proved everybody wrong because you have got placed in S&P Global, which is India's top 10 organizations to work with in the data domain, right? So tell me, like, first of all, how did this whole process from the getting a call from S&P, what is the how many interview process, how many rounds of interview you had, and what is one tip or one tip you can give to people which you have used to to complete all these rounds successfully and get placed at S&P?
So basically, I consider myself lucky because the opportunity was available and I was able to hit it. It's not because of all my efforts.
Got it.
It was something
Timing
also
also.
destined, I think.
Mhm.
I'm lucky enough that I got this opportunity.
Mhm.
And if I am to talk about
Process.
the stages, the process, so the same after meeting you also, I applied around 200 jobs.
Got it. Very good.
So, and from that S&P Global interview call, I got it when we had a one-to-one session, if
Yes,
you
yes.
remember.
We are on a live call. Yes.
Yeah, the telephonic interview was during the call itself.
Correct, correct. So first you had a telephonic
Yes,
round. That's the first process, right?
yes,
Okay. Second?
yes. After then, the managerial round or the HR round was scheduled,
Hmm.
in which the basic questions like introduce yourself,
Hmm.
why data analysis,
Hmm.
and like what you want to be in the next 5 years. Where do you
Where
see
do you see
yourself
yourself
in
in
the
next
next
5 years?
five?
Hmm.
And what is your strength,
And weakness.
weakness, what
Hmm.
values you consider,
Okay.
All these questions were there.
Got it.
And after a week, the technical round was scheduled, and it went for around 1 hour 30 minutes.
1 hour 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and after then, with the lag of 1.5 week, 2 weeks, I think, I got the job offer.
Got it. So, in this whole process, right? So when you're actually preparing through this interview questions and everything, right? So, how did you prepare yourself? Like, did you revise any of the previous? Did you did any kind of research, or how did you actually prepare for this technical rounds? Because manager round is something which we have detailedly discussed about how to exactly answer these questions in terms of technical rounds. Because a lot of people have this misconception that I should know 100% Python, R programming, Power BI, Tableau to get a job. That means I should be 100% technically skilled to get a job. So so how do you feel about that? And second thing is, what is your process of cracking a technical interview?
So with respect to technical round, I don't think so. Like you need 100% preparation. If they haven't guided me, then I wouldn't have completed the technical round itself.
Got it.
Actually, I got a lot of guidance in between the interview also.
Great.
But what they wanted is, I think they were looking for that whether I can approach to a problem or not. So once the problem statement was given, so actually I couldn't understood it because the data that was given to me was very difficult.
Okay.
So
Very
I
definitely.
couldn't understood the data itself.
Okay.
So instead of just pausing there, I just started with the steps. I knew if I am going to do this, then I will get to somewhere. Actually it was a merge query that I needed to apply, but without even understanding the data. Actually, the data was really difficult. So I applied the merge query, and from there it started. So actually, it was basically a Python coding interview.
Okay, got it. So what you're saying is that the recruiters are not looking for 100% skilled candidate.
Yeah.
They're looking for a candidate who have skill set but ready to learn or have that intent and commitment towards the role.
Yes.
Can I put it that way?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I want to break this myth is a lot of people who book a call with me who are waiting to get my coaching services. They have this only misconception that I will do all the certifications, all the projects, all the technical skills, then I'll go for the job search. Right?
No.
Yeah. So because that's not the criteria at the end of the day, right? You should have a skill set, of course, but you should also know how to exactly present it. How are you answering that?
Yes.
I think that was you have mastered, right? Okay. So last couple of questions, 2-3 questions before we wind up, right? So you have approximately worked with me around 8 weeks, 8.5 weeks, I believe.
Yes.
So that'll be 2.5 months, right?
Yes.
So what exactly are the top 3 things you have learned or takeaways from my career coaching services in the last 2.5 months?
So the top 3 things would be: first, we do the things in one-to-one sessions itself. You do not leave upon me कि you will complete it and then
homework nahi hota hai, right? Classwork hota hai. Okay, got it. Okay.
And second is the system that you maintain. Though it's improving, but yeah, it's a good system that if one follows, then he would get some results.
Got it.
Sooner or later, one will get the results.
Okay.
And the third thing, the flexibility, like if you want to reschedule or something, then it's good. You're very flexible enough with that.
Got it. So I would say the first part would be accountability. Can we put it that way?
Yes.
Okay, rather than just telling you that do the homework, I make you do things live.
Yeah.
And so that you'll be in a step-by-step consistent mode. Right?
Yeah.
Good. Got it. So last one question before we wind up. Okay. So what advice would you give to a fresher? We have already discussed about the roadmap and everything, right? So what is that one advice you want to give to a fresher or a career gap person who is planning to get into a new domain with certain challenges of career gap or some personal concerns, right? What is that one advice you would love to give them?
It would be like, I was reading a book and it was mentioned there. The book name is Good to Great. So it was Stockdale Paradox. So it means like you need to have faith that you will persist in the end, whatever the circumstances may be. However, you are ready to face the brutal facts that the circumstances around you, your surroundings, is presenting to you. So you need to have the faith that you will be persisting in that. Yeah.
So basically, you need to believe before it
Yeah.
happens, and you need to be
Yes.
a
Very
blind belief.
brutal. Yeah. Very brutal with the facts. Like you need to do the work. 200 jobs applications without a single call. It's
Yes.
really tough.
Yes, it is. It is. Okay. Got it. Got it. I think you actually lived by that statement in this whole 8.5 weeks. Okay. So, yeah, that's a great advice to actually to people, because the reason I do this podcast is to give them a reality check. Okay. It's not that Rashi is some extraordinary person, or like my career coaching service is something magical. And Rashi has
Yeah.
mentioned a process like system. If you
Hmm.
follow a system, you may get a result little late or little faster, depends upon multiple factors, right? She got
Hmm.
SNP because of maybe luck, but she has used that opportunity, which she had got in luck,
Yes.
and converted it into a job
Hmm.
offer, right? So it's all both things, right? So before we wind up, I just wanted to share something about Rashi and what I have learned by working with Rashi, right? So when I enrolled Rashi, Rashi is the only girl which has a huge career gap,
Hmm.
and with good skill set. She has done I think 6 certifications, 8 projects. Skill set is good, but there is she has a lot of challenges to overcome in terms of getting calls and everything. So she started with me, and not even a day she complained not getting calls. She, as you mentioned, 200 jobs applied. I think 3 interview calls, hardly 1 mail and 2 interview calls. And you imagine 300 is 200 is to 3. That's 0.1% of call ratio. Because it happens with everyone, not of course. Everybody's journey is different. But for her case, this is the scene. And out of that, those 3 small opportunities she got, she worked on SNP, she prepared continuously, and she's able to get into top 10 companies after 3.5 years of career gap. So the only thing you need to take away from the journey of Rashi is consistency, is what I will say. And for anybody, if you see the podcast, the people who have got the job offer, they are not some extraordinary people. They're consistent in terms of following the process. So if you're consistent enough, definitely you'll get results. I think that's what I've learned. And she's consistent on everything. She started with me 7 followers on LinkedIn. Right now, she's touching 700. Right now, she's getting multiple referrals on LinkedIn after we got placed. Right. So it's just about consistency. That's what you have to take away from here. And if you're a guy who is also struggling in terms of career, going through rough times, so remember the words Rashi has said in terms of being persistent and believe that something good is going to happen by being logical about hard work and everything. So just follow the process. Definitely you'll be able to get the results. So that's for today's podcast, guys. I hope this really inspires you to take action, okay, to do something actually to get a job rather than focusing on the market. Yes, market is bad, but market will always reward the people who are consistent and have skill sets, right? So that's for today's podcast, guys. I hope you had a great time watching this video. I'll be back with one more podcast with one more success story to inspire you a lot. Thank you so much.